So The Mandalorian Season 2 and Season 3 have been very troubled productions, and it's honestly been a miracle of how well these seasons have been coming out. But now we have even more news, some more bad news about The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are reportedly butting heads over the future of Star Wars and the future of The Mandalorian. Let's check it out. Like I said, ever since really the start of The Mandalorian Season 2 production, we've been hearing a lot of behind-the-scenes drama coming out about the production of The Mandalorian with Pedro Pascal, and then obviously the Gina Carano situation has been going on for a long time. You know, this isn't new. This didn't just happen in February whenever she got fired. It has been going on since pretty much she made her first appearance in The Mandalorian Season 1. You know, that's been going on for quite a while. People have been trying to cancel Gina Carano for her views for quite a while, and I wouldn't even say it's political views because it really wasn't. It didn't really start out as political views. It was kind of just world views. You know, she was kind of just questioning certain things, and people didn't like her questioning certain things, so they went after her. They tried to cancel her, and you know, as soon as she made her appearance in The Mandalorian, there were articles dropped. There were smear campaigns against her from certain websites, and I'm not going to go into that. That's not what this video is about. As you can see on the screen right here, we got something that's very, very much more important for the overall future of the Star Wars universe than Gina Carano's being fired. But that definitely plays a part in the troubled productions of The Mandalorian. You know, Pedro Pascal stuff where apparently him and Jon Favreau were butting heads. I don't know what that was really about. You know, so many people have theorized, so many people have speculated and reported different things about what that was truly about. But now Pedro Pascal isn't even having The Mandalorian high on his priority list when it comes to the shows that he's working on. That's pretty crazy. You know, I think that's a big statement because The Mandalorian, as I said in my previous video, is one of the hottest TV shows on television right now. It's very, very well recognized by everyone. You know, anyone in North America, if you say The Mandalorian, they know exactly what you're talking about. Now, a lot of them might think of Grogu, but I think that was going to change in The Mandalorian Season 3. I think it was going to be Din Djarin's show if Pedro Pascal was able to commit to the character, was able to commit to the show, but it just seems like he doesn't want to. I think not only was it going to be Din Djarin's show, but I think he was going to show his face quite a bit. He took his helmet off at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, and I think he was kind of saying that he's not going to be that heavily devoted to that creed anymore, and I think that we're going to see him be confronted by the armor of Mandalorian and all that other stuff because of how he's kind of, you know, writing off his creed. He's not going to be as devoted to his creed anymore. He was kind of going to join Bo-Katan and all the other Mandalorians' way of thinking. But this article says Lucasfilm and Jon Favreau reportedly butting heads over The Mandalorian. Now, I think this was kind of bound to happen whenever you have two people that are very, very passionate about what they're doing and they're working on so many different Star Wars projects together. It's bound to happen that they're going to butt heads. You know, brothers fight all the time. But this could either turn into a very good situation or it could turn into a very bad situation. It's always good to not be surrounded by yes men like George Lucas was with the prequel trilogy. It's always good for Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to disagree with each other. And when they do disagree with each other, it's always good for them to actually air that out and let each other know that they disagree with each other. And we saw that in the making of documentaries for The Mandalorian. They disagreed a lot, but they were never butting heads. They were never like beefing. And it seems like now these reports are saying that they're kind of beefing. But it says, if the future of Star Wars on Disney Plus is poised to draw inspiration from the MCU, then we can guarantee that a whole host of new episodic projects will be announced to continue building up a library of in-house exclusives set in a galaxy far, far away. It's only the second week of September, and yet we're over halfway through the streamer's fourth MCU show of the year, with Hawkeye still to come. Meanwhile, Loki and What If have both been renewed for second seasons, and there's a future 8 shows, a holiday special, a Halloween special, and an animated spinoff in the works. Having launched the expansion in the first place, The Mandalorian is rightly viewed as Star Wars' marquee small screen property. However, we're hearing from our sources, the same ones who told us Hayden Christensen was returning for Obi-Wan Kenobi before it was confirmed, that Lucasfilm and Jon Favreau reportedly have very different ideas over how to proceed in the future. Now, this is very unfortunate because what I've heard, you know, from certain people who have been very right in the past, what I've heard about The Mandalorian is that it was supposed to go for 5, 6, maybe even 7, 8 seasons. It was going to be kind of a Game of Thrones type show. As you can see from this fan art right here, it's exactly what we all thought. Ever since the start, from season 1, people have been telling me that, you know, The Mandalorian was going to be 6, 7, maybe even 8 seasons of kind of a Game of Thrones type show. And whenever they set up that Din Djarin Darksaber, having the Darksaber and Bo-Katan wanting it, talking about the throne of Mandalore, all that stuff, it just leaned into that even more. It just seemed like it was going to be a Game of Thrones type show even more, 6, 7, 8 season show even more. But now we're getting those reports, and it's pretty much confirmed. It's from very, very reliable sources that The Mandalorian will end after 3 seasons. I find it hard to believe that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni would both agree that after setting up this crazy story where you could have these crazy sieges of Mandalore, unless they're ending it to go do a movie, then that would make sense. To go do a movie or maybe make their own series simply about like taking over Mandalore, retaking Mandalore. Maybe they'll make their entire new series, a new show about that. Maybe. If that's the case, then I can understand. But if they're just ending The Mandalorian season 3 and ending that storyline in season 3, I don't think that they would both agree on that. That seems like something where they would butt heads, but that's just me. I don't think that it should end after season 3. I don't. I think that it should go for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. I think that they have it set up perfectly to where this could be Star Wars' Game of Thrones. But maybe if they want to end it, if they want to go out on top, whatever, it is what it is. I have trust in them, but I'm just saying that this could be a point of contention for them. Lucasfilm reportedly want The Mandalorian to continue on in perpetuity, while Favreau wants to finish up after another season or 2 to focus on other characters, with Pedro Pascal's jam-packed slate being cited as a major reason why. Okay, that would make kind of sense. That would kind of make sense, because if Favreau wants a certain thing for Din Djarin, if he wants the character to go a certain way, and Pedro Pascal being Din Djarin is just holding him back by, if The Last of Us ends up running for years, then that's going to be a huge problem for The Mandalorian, for Din Djarin, the character. It's going to be a huge problem. So if Favreau really wanted to do certain things with Din Djarin and he just can't because of Pedro Pascal, then that makes sense why they would end it after season 3. But that makes me lose a lot of respect for Pedro Pascal, because you signed up for the role, man. You knew what you were getting into. You had to know. The only reason why you have any right to be a little bit mad, to be a little bit frustrated, is because he didn't know how big the show was going to be. And I'm sure watching the show back, seeing all these, people do reactions on YouTube, seeing them get millions and millions and millions of views off of this show, and him just being in a mask the whole time, other than a couple of scenes throughout the season, it must be frustrating. But at the same time, you knew what you were signing up for. You had to be more professional than that. You can't let that get to your heads to the point where you're ruining the show. You're ruining the character. You're ruining what Jon Favreau had planned. I mean, I guess they could recast. I wouldn't mind it too much if they recasted, but I don't know if Jon Favreau wants to do that. It's kind of the same thing with the Gina Carano situation. Yes, they could recast Gina Carano. They could recast Cara Dune, but it just wouldn't be the same. It's the same thing with Pedro Pascal. Yeah, they could recast Din Djarin, but it just wouldn't be the same. And I think that's how Jon Favreau thinks as well. But HBO currently have the actor under a first position deal, so if The Last of Us ends up running for years, then it becomes increasingly difficult to plan a shooting schedule for the sci-fi series around his availability. You can understand both parties' point of view, but we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out in the long run. And probably Dave Filoni is probably on the side of, we have an amazing story being set up here. We could really take this, very deep into the seasons if we just continue this show. And if Jon Favreau wants to end it because he can't get his character to be exactly how he wants it, then I could 100% see Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni butting heads on that, being, kind of angry with each other on that situation, because, I personally would want to see the show go on, recast him. Who cares about Pedro Pascal? He's under a mask most of the time anyway. We could get a different actor who is more committed to the character and then see him unmasked a lot more, because he can actually be on the set, because it won't be Pedro Pascal off doing other things that he cares about more than The Mandalorian. We can have someone fully committed to the Mandalorian character. They could be on the set all the time, and we can finally see the true, plan that they had for Din Djarin, instead of having them work around Pedro Pascal's schedule and stuff like that. So I can fully understand that. But we also have this. The Mandalorian season 1 originally included Armorer's death, and then Emily Swallow came out recently and defended Gina Carano. This could be a problem, because I think that they definitely, if they originally had her death included in season 1 and Emily Swallow was coming out and saying that, I think she was definitely going to come back for season 3. But now that she's defending Gina Carano publicly, this could cause problems. I think that her defending Gina Carano might cost her job at Disney, at Lucasfilm, because I don't know if they're trying to get Gina Carano back, but the optics just don't look good. The optics are kind of like similar to Elizabeth Olsen supporting Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit. I think that it's a little bit similar to that, because they tried to completely wipe Gina Carano from the map. They tried to make it seem like Gina Carano never worked at Disney, never worked at Lucasfilm. They canceled all of her toys, all that stuff. And for Emily Swallow, who was supposed to come back for season 3, I mean, that's kind of an assumption, but I would think that if they included her death and then took her death out, then she was probably going to come back for season 3. She's probably not going to now. That kind of sucks, because I really wanted to see her confront Din Djarin about his beliefs and taking his helmet off and all that stuff. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. What do you think about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni butting heads about the future of Star Wars and the future of Mandalorian. Let me know what you think about the whole situation in the comments. If you did enjoy this video though, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the links to that will be in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you in the next one.